All right. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Let me have all the defendants please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the information you provided on your application for court-appointed counsel is true and correct? If so, say I do. You can put your hands down. I'm Judge Salvia Smith-Fox. I'm here to preside over your first appearance hearings this morning. Want to go over a few things with you so you understand the nature of these proceedings. I am not here to try your case this morning or to take a plea in your case. Instead, I'm here to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney to let you know what you are charged with, if you have a bond, and if so, what that bond amount is. I also want to advise you of certain rights that you have. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The right to indictment by grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. The right to a speedy and public trial by jury. The right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses that are called to testify against you. The right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena. The right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense. The right to be represented by an attorney. And at this point, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent each one of you. Excuse me. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds. Those bonds may be cash, commercial, or property bonds. If you decide to post a cash bond, you will deliver the full amount of your bond in cash to the sheriff. You will receive all of that money back after the final disposition of your case. If you decide to post a commercial bond, you can go through a commercial bonding company. These are private companies. They charge different fees, typically up to 15% of the amount of your bond. Now, once you pay this money to the bonding company, that money will not be returned to you. You also can post a property bond. You would need to find someone that has at least 3 times the amount of equity in their property as the amount of your bond. All of you all will have a special condition on your bond, which will prohibit you from violating any laws while you are out on bond. Some of you will have additional special conditions, which will prohibit you from contacting certain people or going back to certain locations. Understand that this court takes the special conditions very seriously. If you were to violate any of the special conditions, your bond would be revoked, additional charges could be added, and you would not be entitled to a new bond while you are awaiting trial. You could be charged with aggravated stalking, influencing a witness, or other charges as the law may provide. And you could be facing up to 10 years in prison, up to $20,000 fine. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bond. In that event, I will schedule a bond hearing before a superior court judge. Some of you are on active probation, and this court is not authorized to set a bond for you. You would have to wait to see whether or not your probation officer files to revoke your probation in that event. It usually happens during your preliminary hearing. Your preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing for those of you that are still detained in the detention center to determine whether or not there's still probable cause to justify holding you on the charges. If you have a felony, the preliminary hearing will be November 9th. If you have all misdemeanor charges, your preliminary hearing will be October 27th. Now, if you have only misdemeanors, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. If you decide to waive your preliminary hearing, it will expedite your case to state court, or you will get a hearing in 7 to 10 days. So I will ask you, if you have misdemeanor charges only, if you want to waive your preliminary hearing to expedite your case to state court. If you have any felony charges, you will not have that option. You will have to wait to speak with an attorney first before you decide whether or not to waive your preliminary hearing. I will also ask you if you want to have your charges read aloud. You do have the right to have the warrant or probable cause affidavit read in its entirety. If you already understand what you're charged with, or some of you, there's sensitive information that you may not want read aloud in court, you can waive that reading. I will still let you know what you're charged with and what your bond amount is. All right, I'm going to begin calling you all up individually. And I'm going to start with, looks like I have the females in front, so I'm going to start with the females. I'm going to start with Jade Francis.
Jameson,
All
I
right.
in the bar, okay?
After Miss, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
We also have Mr. Diaz, the one I chatted you about, and we also have the three that speak Spanish.
Okay, I'll have to wait on an interpreter to do them.
Then we have, once we get halfway through the first day, we'll have another group to do the speech with.
Okay,
And I'll let you know once we finish with the ones that were out here for that initial one.
okay, thank you.
No problem at all. Diaz is in medical, and they're gonna be having him set up. We can go ahead and do Jade Francis first, if it's okay. Okay, they have it ready, Diaz.
Okay, Diaz. Let me find his paperwork.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, is it Daryl Diaz?
Is your first? Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Diaz. Can you hear me?
Have to relay it to him, Judge.
All right. Sir, you being charged with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500.
You're being charged with obstruction. Your bond is $1,500.
You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond.
You have a special condition where you can't violate any laws while you're out on bond.
The probable cause affidavit indicates on October 11th, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 7517 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro at 12:35. The defendant did knowingly and willfully resist arrest by leaving the scene for investigation by running away after asked to place his hands behind his back. All right, and see, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Yeah, Judge gonna point again.
And sir, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Judge, in the area that he is, we can't give him a form to write it down. Would you have another?
Okay, so I will set the preliminary hearing for October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. And if he wants to waive it, his attorney can get him to sign the form later.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Want to waive the preliminary.
All right, putting that down. Okay, and we're going back. All right, and you're Miss Francis? All right, after Miss Francis will be Heather Frost. Good afternoon, Miss Francis. Ma'am, you are charged with disorderly conduct. Your bond is $1,500. Public drunk, your bond is $1,000. And obstructing an officer, your bond is $1,500. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, you don't have to read it.
Okay. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
So it could be expedited? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So ma'am, they will have to waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Heather Frost, and then Tabitha Justice. All right, are you Miss Frost?
Speak up, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500. And simple assault, family violence, your bond is $3,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Also, to have no violent or harassing contact with Donald E. Ailing. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. And ma'am, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
I don't know.
All right, I'll set it for October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
AM?
Yes, 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. All right, Tabitha Justice, and then Brianna Oliver. All right, good afternoon. Are you Miss Justice? All right. Ma'am, you're charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. Cruelty to children in the second degree. Your bond is $2,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I don't know what that means.
Do you want me to read the probable cause affidavit from the officer, or do you understand what you're charged with?
I don't understand what I'm charged with.
I couldn't hear you.
I don't understand what I'm charged with. My girlfriend's 17 years old.
All right. It says the defendant did on the 11th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 694 Lookout Drive in Forest Park at approximately 11 a.m., I think, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: battery, family violence, and cruelty to children. And that said offender did on October 11, 2020 at 1100 hours. I was dispatched to 694 Lookout Drive in Forest Park in reference to a domestic disturbance. Once on scene, I spoke with the victim, Amber Roach, date of birth 3/5/2003, who reported her living girlfriend, Tabitha Justice, date of birth November 25th, 81, struck her in the face and in her right eye several times with a closed fist. Amber sustained red marks and bruises to her right eye and left cheekbone. Amber is 17 years of age and Tabitha is 38 years old. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Waiving the preliminary hearing means what?
Your case will go to state court. That's where they handle misdemeanor cases.
I'm not sure.
Right. You said,
I'm not sure. I don't believe that is right. I didn't put my hands on her, so I don't know.
okay, so I'll set your preliminary hearing for October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Amber Roach. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, Brianna Oliver, and then Deborah Ramsey. Are you Miss Oliver? All right, good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with aggravated assault. Due to the nature of the charges, you have no bond set. Cruelty to children in the third degree, $4,000 bond. Battery, $5,000 bond. Cruelty to children in the second degree, $4,000 bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Devontae Christian. Also not to violate any laws while you're out if you're released on bond. I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am. November 9th. Deborah Ramsey and then Sierra Robinson. Are you Miss Ramsey? All right, ma'am, you are charged with simple assault. Your bond is $3,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'm not sure. Like, explain. I wait.
Do you want me to read your charges to you, or do you understand what you're charged with?
Read it to me.
All right. Says the defendant did on the 11th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at 60 McFerrin Circle in Riverdale, Georgia 30274 at approximately 0901 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: simple assault, and that said offender did commit an act which places another in reasonable apprehension of immediately receiving a violent injury when she balled her fist up and stated, "Get your ass on somewhere," while charging at the victim, Danielle Willis, date of birth 11/1/92. I observed the offense on video. The suspect said she did it because the victim said something disrespectful. The above occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. All right. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while out on bond, and also to have no violent or harassing contact with Danielle Willis. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, they will have a waiver form for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am.
No, I was looking
All right.
All right, Sierra Robinson and then Sky Wynn. Are you Miss Robinson? All right, ma'am, you are charged with simple assault, family violence. Your bond is $3,000. Criminal trespass, your bond is $2,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Also to have no violent or harassing contact with Justin Ramey. Do you understand that, ma'am? All right. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? All right, ma'am, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am. Guy Wynn. And did you all have any other females on the October 12th calendar?
That's the last one for that date.
Okay, and then next, Demario Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Wynn, you're charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? All right. Ma'am, you have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Deontay Tucker. Also not to violate any laws while on bond.
You froze, Your Honor, if you're still talking. Your Honor, you froze if you're still talking. We can't hear you and you're solid on the screen. All right, it's now we can't hear
The
you.
internet is kind of iffy. All
Yeah.
right, ma'am, do you understand that you can have no contact with Deontay Tucker? All right, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What would happen at the preliminary hearing?
It's a probable cause hearing to determine whether or not there's probable cause for the charges.
No, I don't know.
All right, so it will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, Anderson is a male. Did you want to start with the males or finish the females from day 2?
I
Oh,
hear
you have the females they were in the first round when I gave the speech?
Yes, Your Honor. All females were present. Just the half of the males were for the second day. I mean, first
Okay,
day.
I'll start with the females from, hold on, let me find.
We advise the preliminary hearing date for Ms. Nguyen.
October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. And then Kristen Brooks.
No, Jones.
All right. And after Ms. Brooks will be Christine Salenza. Are you Ms. Brooks? Are you Ms. Brooks? I can't hear you.
Yes,
Speak
ma'am.
up.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with driving under the influence. Your bond is $5,000. Failure to maintain lane, your bond is $1,000. And open container, your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am. Am
All
I
right,
able,
ma'am, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am.
make that bond? Is it cash? Is it
You
7,000?
can pay cash for the full $7,000. You can go through a bonding company or a property bond.
So there's no way I can break that down. I don't have any family here. I can't break that down to like maybe 1,000 and I can.
If you go through a bonding company, they'll only charge you a percentage.
I
So,
don't family here to contact
so you
me.
have to,
So can I,
that's what the bond is right now. All right, thank you, ma'am. Christine Salenza, and then Takesha Croft. Right, are you Miss Salenza? All right, ma'am, you are charged with giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bonds. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? All right, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? All right, ma'am, there'll be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, ma'am. Takesha Croft, and then Kiana Curry. Are you Miss Croft? I can't hear you.
ma'am?
All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Charles Croft and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am? All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Ma'am.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing? I couldn't hear that last one. You said yes? Okay. I know it's hard for me to hear through the mask, but I know y'all got to keep them on. All right. So they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Kiana Curry, and then Jolie Frazier. Are you Miss Curry? All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. Going to release you on a signature bond. I understand your case was continued. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Brian Short, date of birth July 8th, 79. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? All right. And let's see, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to, well, I'm releasing you on a signature bond, so that's going to automatically waive your preliminary hearing. So you should be released, but it will be, the sheriff's office won't receive this paperwork until after the hearing. So it'll be a while. And then they'll have to process it. So it may be later on today. All right, so I will need for you to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing since I'm releasing you on that signature bond, and you will get your next court date in the mail.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, Jolie Frazier, are you Miss Frazier?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then next will be Faith Geddes. All right, Ms. Frazier, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bonds. Ma'am, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am. Faith Geddes, and then Sia King. Are you Ms. Geddes? All right, ma'am, you are charged with deprived child and cruelty to children in the first degree. I did not find probable cause for the deprived child, so I dismissed that. On the cruelty to children, your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. All right. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? All right. Ma'am, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right, thank you, ma'am. Sia King. All right, are you Miss King?
I am.
All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. You are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Also to have no violent or harassing contact with Raji Shropshire. Do you understand that, ma'am? All right, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Say that again?
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, ma'am. Do you all have any other females?
That's it, Your Honor. We got the first half of the males that were out for the speech ready to be seen now.
Starting with Demario Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Anderson, and then James Bautista.
Let's see. You got a bail, Jaquavius Bell? Anderson. Did you have a, I'm sorry, Jan, did you have a Jaquavius Bell?
Do I have a Jaquavius? Yeah, he would be the third one.
Okay, got you.
After Mr. Bautista, then it would be Mr. Bell. Are you Mr. Anderson? All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with reckless conduct. Your bond is $3,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, I know.
I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right. Sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, Batista is Spanish speaking.
Oh, okay.
So I got Bell ready.
All right. So he speaks Spanish. All right. And then after Mr. Bell will be Jeremy Bosley. All right. And you're Jaquavius Bell? All right. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you're charged with criminal trespass, damage to property. Your bond is $2,000. Theft by taking, $2,000 bond. Battery, family violence, you have, well, $4,000. Another theft by taking, $2,000. 3 counts of cruelty to children, $2,000 each. Criminal trespass, $2,000, and simple battery, $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with my Landria Ponder, May 22nd, 1992. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I ain't hear the last part you said.
Oh, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right.
I can't hear it. I'm just-
Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Could you say that one more time, Your Honor? The computer went out.
Okay, sir, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, it will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Let's get the pen down. Step this way, sir.
All right, Jeremy Bosley, are you Mr. Bosley? And then next will be Nathaniel Cox. All right, Mr. Bosley, you are charged with simple assault. Your bond is $3,000. Possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Denise Roper. Also not to return to or go upon the premises located at 4233 Thurman Road. And not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
No.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, there will be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, sir. Nathaniel Cox, and then Quindell Green. Are you Mr. Cox? All right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with driving while license suspended. After reviewing the probable cause affidavit, I did not find probable cause, and I'm going to dismiss that charge. So unless you have any other holds, you'll be released when they process the paperwork after the hearing. All right. Thank you, sir. Quindell Green, and then Trayvon Hawkins. Are you Mr. Green? All right, Mr. Green, you are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Dezia Brown. Also not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? You said yes? All right. Sir, there will be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Trayvon Hawkins and then Joshua Johnson. Are you Mr. Hawkins?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Sir, you are charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. Yes. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jesus Taylor and not to violate any laws while out on bond. Do you understand that, sir? Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, there should be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Hurd.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Who do you have?
I have Martavius Watkins.
Martavius Watkins. All right. At the jail, do you all have Mr. Watkins in that first group?
He was not in the first group. Did you want us to go ahead and bring him up?
You can go ahead and bring him up because his attorney is present.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And you are Mr. Johnson? I'll do Mr. Johnson and then while you all get Mr. Hurd's client.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you are charged with public drunk. Your bond is $1,000, obstructing an officer, $1,500 bonds, interference with government property, $5,000 bonds. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. You said your client's last name was Watkins? Mr. Hurd? Did you say Watkins?
He said Martavius Watkins. Mr. Hurd.
Okay.
Yes, that's him right there, Your Honor.
All right, give me just a second to find his paperwork.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Watkins. All right, I have your attorney, Denoris Hurd, on the Zoom call as well. Sir, you are charged with 3 counts of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000 on each count, so the total of $15,000. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Mr. Hurd, do you waive the formal reading of the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And let's see.
Your Honor, is it possible for that to be, I know that you already had a set. Is it possible to try to get $3,500 per charge?
We don't usually go down that low on felony possession.
Okay, Your Honor.
I know 5,000 is pretty low. So I tried to and I really couldn't tell from the warrant exactly how much there was.
My understanding may be an appeal or 2. I know that, so I don't think there was anything substantial.
Let me look at it. One of them was one oxycodone pill.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, 2 amphetamine pills and then 3 clonazepam pills. Clonazepam, 3 of those. Okay, so those were the 3 different charges. All right, hold on. Which one was the? I'll do 3,500 for the one oxycodone. The other 2 stay at 5,000.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, the preliminary hearing will be November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I want to just say, Your Honor, I'm sorry that I got on late, but I reached out to Miss Courtney, I assume Courtney Shimon.
Oh, it's fine. We're just,
I know,
working
and
with things.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
good seeing you. No problem.
Yep, have a great day. Okay.
All right, you as well. All right, thank you, Mr. Watkins. Next, do you all have David Knight? Are you Mr. Knight?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
All right. Hold on. And after Mr. Knight will be Stephen Lewis. Mr. Knight, you are charged with driving with a suspended registration. Your bond is $500. Expired tag, expired registration, $500, and driving on a suspended license, $1,500 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, could I ask for a signature bond, Your Honor? I'm not financially able to post the bond, and I have a chronic liver disease, and I'm trying not to miss any appointments with my Emory transplant.
No, well, I won't be able to because it says that your license was suspended on January 16th. Or, oh, no, there was a FTA violation on January 16th. It was, and the tag was suspended and expired. So the total bond is $2,500. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I was just asking.
Okay, so that will expedite your case to state court. I have appointed an attorney to represent you. Sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
You said state court. What is that? Will I be able to get out of the signature bond?
Well, not today because your bond is $2,500. But your next hearing will be in state court in 7 to 10 days. So your attorney will be able to speak with you about your case.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. I see that I have the interpreter, Ms. Tolles. Who are the Spanish-speaking people that we have?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. And did all of the Spanish-speaking people hear the speech, or do I need to do it again?
He said they heard it, but they didn't hear it. They only heard it in English.
Oh, okay. So I'll do it again. How you doing, Ms. Tolles?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Are you just coming from another hearing?
No, actually, I wasn't on a hearing at the time.
Oh, okay, that's good. I think we have 3 people, so I'm gonna do the speech first and then.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you, at the jail, do you all have the names so that I can pull their paperwork? I already have, James Bautista. Who are the 2 other people?
Miguel,
Your Honor, we're gonna pull out the second group so you can go ahead and do the speech for them at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Give
What
us,
are the other 2 defendants' names that speak Spanish? Other than Bautista?
Malpica and Reyes.
Okay, let me find their paperwork. Give me just a moment.
No problem. We're gonna line everybody else up while you do that.
Okay. Okay, at the jail, I have Reyes and I have Bautista. Who was the 3rd person that speaks Spanish? Can you all hear me at the jail?
Malpica is his last name, Your Honor.
Pika?
Yes, Malpica, Malpica.
Okay, let me find his file. Hold on. Give me just a moment. All right. Before I do the speech, let me start with Mr. Reyes.
Reyes, he can hear you. You want him to come
All
up?
right. Yeah, he can come up to the front.
Acérquese, señor.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, señor.
I'm not sure how to pronounce your first name.
No estoy
I know
segura.
it's spelled Xixihua. How do you pronounce that?
This may be actually a last name, Your Honor. No sé-
Okay, Andreas Reyes, and then that name, Xixihua.
Andrés Reyes Jijuya. Jijiwa.
All right. All right, sir, you're charged with driving with no license. After viewing the warrant, I did not find probable cause.
Bueno, señor, a usted se le acusa de conducir sin licencia, pero después de repasar la orden de detención, yo determiné que no hubo motivo fundado para esta acusación en su contra.
Sir, I'm going to dismiss that charge.
Entonces, yo voy a desestimar esa acusación en su contra.
Unless you have any other holds, you will be released once they process the paperwork after this hearing.
Y a no ser que usted tenga otra orden de detención, usted quedará en libertad una vez que ellos tramiten todos los documentos.
All right, thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
I got a question.
¿Sí?
Yes, sir.
I paid already. Yo pagué mi fianza ya de lo que me detuvieron de la licencia.
I paid a bond already because of the license charge.
I'm not sure how that works. I'm going to dismiss it. You'll be able to take a copy of the dismissal to see if you'll be able to get that bond money back.
No estoy segura, señor, cómo funciona eso, pero como yo voy a desestimar la acusación, usted va a recibir una copia del sobreseimiento y puede llevar esto al departamento de sheriff para ver si le devuelven la fianza pagada.
All right. All right, let me have all of the defendants, please raise your right hand.
Si los detenidos pueden levantar la mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear or affirm that the information you provided in your application for court-appointed counsel is true and correct? If so, say I do.
Juran y afirman que la información que proporcionaron en la solicitud para el abogado de oficio es verdadera y correcta. Si es que sí, digan juro.
All right, you all can put your hands down.
Pueden bajar la mano.
All right, I am Judge Salvia Smith Fox. Good afternoon.
Yo soy la juez Salvia Smith Fox. Buenas tardes.
This is your first appearance before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Esta es su comparecencia inicial ante el Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
I am not here to try your case this afternoon or to take a plea in your case.
No estoy aquí para que se enjuicie su causa esta tarde, tampoco para que presenten una declaración a las acusaciones.
Instead, I am here to inform you of your charges, the bond amount, and your next currently scheduled court date.
En lugar de eso, estoy aquí para informarle de las acusaciones en su contra, de la fianza que tiene impuesta y para informarle de la próxima cita judicial que ya está programada.
I also want to advise you of certain rights that you have.
También necesito informarle de los derechos que tienen.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say may be used against you at a later hearing or trial.
Tiene el derecho a permanecer callado. Cualquier cosa que diga se puede usar en su contra en cualquier diligencia ulterior o juicio posterior.
You have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Tiene derecho a ser presunto inocente hasta el Estado prueba su culpabilidad fuera de una duda razonable.
The right to indictment by grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors.
También el derecho a acusación formal a través del gran jurado o el jurado de indagación o el derecho a una acusación general cuando se trata de delitos menores.
The right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
El derecho a un juicio público y sin demora ante un jurado.
The right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses that are called to testify against you.
El derecho a ver, oír y contrainterrogar todo testigo convocado a declarar en su contra.
The right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena.
Y el derecho a obligar la presencia de sus propios testigos por medio de citatorio judicial.
The right to testify in your own defense.
El derecho de presentar testimonio en defensa propia.
The right to be represented by an attorney.
Y el derecho a ser representado por un abogado.
At this point, I am going to appoint an attorney to represent each one of you.
Por el momento voy a designar un abogado de oficio para cada uno de ustedes.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds. Those bonds may be cash, commercial, or property bonds.
Algunos de ustedes tendrán la opción de depositar su fianza y será sin restricciones, lo cual significa que puede pagar la fianza en efectivo a través de una compañía comercial de fianzas o poniendo de garantía un inmueble.
If you decide to post a cash bond, you will pay the full amount in cash to the sheriff, and you will receive all of that money back after the final disposition of your case.
Si decide tramitar su fianza en efectivo, tendrá que depositar el monto total de la fianza en la oficina del sheriff y recuperar todo el dinero pagado después de la disposición final o definitivo de su causa.
If you do not have the full amount in cash, you can go through a commercial bonding company.
Si no cuenta con el total de la fianza en efectivo, puede tramitarla con una compañía comercial de fianzas.
These are private companies. They charge different fees up to 15% of the amount of your bond.
Son compañías privadas y cobran tarifas diferentes, hasta un 15% de lo que es la fianza total.
Once you pay this money to the bonding company, you will not receive that money back.
Una vez que usted paga ese dinero a la compañía de fianzas, no recupera el dinero pagado.
If you decide to post a bond, you would need to find someone that has net equity in their property in amount equal to 3 times the total amount of your bond.
Si va a tramitar su fianza utilizando un inmueble, entonces necesita a alguien con una propiedad con un patrimonio neto o participación neta de por lo menos 3 veces lo que es el valor de la fianza.
All of you will have a special condition on your bond not to violate any laws while you are out on bond.
Todos ustedes tendrán una condición especial con la fianza que dispone que no puede incumplir la ley estando en libertad bajo fianza.
Some of you will have additional special conditions that will prohibit you from contacting certain people or going back to certain locations.
Algunos de ustedes tendrán condiciones de fianza adicionales, los cuales disponen ningún contacto con ciertas personas y que no vaya a ciertos lugares.
Understand that this court takes the special conditions very seriously.
Entiende que el tribunal toma muy en serio las condiciones de fianza.
If you were to violate any of the special conditions, your bond could be revoked, additional charges could be added, and you would not be entitled to a new bond while you are awaiting trial.
Si usted llegara a incumplir alguna de las condiciones de fianza, su fianza actual quedará revocada. Se le puede formular cargos adicionales y no tendrá derecho a una fianza nueva mientras está esperando la resolución de su causa.
An additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing a witness, or other charges as the law may provide could be brought against you.
Acusaciones adicionales como acecho con agravantes, influenciar a testigos o otras acusaciones que corresponden según la ley se pueden formular en su contra,
for which you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison and fined up to $20,000.
por las cuales se le puede imponer una fianza de 10 años de reclusión o $20,000 de multa.
If you have a no contact provision on your bond with someone, that person will not be allowed to post the bond.
Si tiene una condición de ningún contacto con una persona, según las leyes o las normas de su fianza, esa persona no puede tramitar la fianza para usted.
Some of you may be charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized to set bail. In that event, you will get a scheduled bond hearing before a superior court judge.
Algunos de ustedes tienen acusaciones por las cuales yo como juez no tengo la autorización para determinar su fianza. Si ese es su caso, usted tendrá una determinación de fianza ante un juez de tribunal superior.
Also, for certain charges, if you are on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond.
También, cuando se encuentra acusada de ciertas acusaciones, si actualmente está cumpliendo una condena de libertad a prueba o libertad condicional, tampoco tengo la autoridad para determinarle una fianza hoy.
Your next court date will be a preliminary hearing. If you have a felony charge, your preliminary hearing will be set for November 9th.
Su próxima audiencia será la audiencia preliminar. Si se encuentran acusados de delitos mayores, la fecha de la audiencia preliminar se señala para el 9 de noviembre.
If you have all misdemeanor charges, your preliminary hearing will be October 27th.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Is that 22nd or 27th?
27th.
Si se encuentran acusadas de delitos menores, o sea, infracciones, entonces su audiencia preliminar se señala para el día 27 de octubre.
Your preliminary hearing is your probable cause hearing that is held here in Magistrate Court.
La audiencia preliminar es la audiencia para determinar motivo fundado en las acusaciones en su contra, y esta audiencia se celebra aquí en la sala menor del Tribunal de Primera Instancia.
If you have only misdemeanor charges, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing and expediting your case to state court.
Si solamente se encuentran acusadas de infracciones menores, tendrán la opción hoy a renunciar a tener la audiencia preliminar. En tal caso, eso agiliza su causa para que pase con más prontitud al tribunal estatal.
If you have any felony charges, you will have to wait to speak with your attorney first before you decide whether to waive your preliminary hearing.
Si tienen acusaciones mayores, tendrán que esperar a hablar primero con su abogado antes de decidir si va a renunciar a la audiencia preliminar o no.
All right. You will also have the right to have your probable cause affidavit or warrant read in open court.
También tienen el derecho a que se le lea aquí públicamente la orden de arresto o la declaración jurada sin orden de arresto.
Some of you will have the option of waiving the formal reading of your charges if you already understand what you are charged with, or you do not want the confidential information that's contained in the warrant read in open court.
Algunos de ustedes tendrán la opción de renunciar a la lectura de las acusaciones en su contra si no quiere, si ya entiende de qué se le acusa o si no quiere que se divulgue la naturaleza confidencial de las acusaciones.
All right. I am going to start with the two people that need the interpreter. We can start with Miguel Malpica.
Señor Malpica, adelante, por favor.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Buenas tardes, señor.
All right, sir, you are charged with theft by taking motor vehicle,
Señor, a usted se le acusa de hurto de un vehículo a motor.
sir, your bond is $10,000.
Tiene una fianza en la cantidad de $10,000.
No lo tengo,
I don't have that.
pero quisiera que supiera qué fue lo que sucedió.
Sir, you will have a special condition not to violate any laws when you are released, if you are released on bond.
Y también, señor, tendrá una condición especial de no incumplir la ley mientras si sale en libertad bajo fianza. If I may interrupt, Your Honor, Mr. Malpica said something that I could not quite hear. Would you
All
like me to
right,
ask
sir,
you
can
to
you please
repeat?
repeat what you said? The interpreter couldn't hear.
Señor, usted dijo algo, perdón, y no oí bien.
A mí unas personas me envenenaron y yo fui en mi carro hasta el primer hospital.
There were some people who poisoned me, and I got in my car and went to the first hospital.
Y no me quiero.
All right, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir.
Espera un momentico, señor.
All right, sir. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Señor, voy a
We'll be
designar
able to tell them about any defense that you have to these charges.
Señor, voy a designar un abogado para representarle. Así al abogado usted le explicar todas sus defensas ante esa acusación.
I can't hear any of the facts at this time because I don't have the other side here present at this hearing.
Yo no puedo conocer los hechos según usted en ese momento porque la otra parte no está presente en la sala.
All right, but I am here to give you a bond of $10,000 and to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Pero sí estoy aquí para imponerle una fianza de $10,000 y para nombrarle un abogado de oficio.
And sir, your preliminary hearing is set for November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Y señor, su audiencia preliminar se señala para el 9 de noviembre a las 8 de la mañana en la sala 201.
9 de noviembre.
The 9th of November?
Yes, sir.
Sí,
November 9th.
señor. El 9 de noviembre.
Hold on just a moment. Okay, and then James Bautista.
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Hola, señor. Buenas tardes. Good
Sir,
afternoon.
you are charged with striking a fixed object, hit and run. Your bond is $1,500.
Señor, a usted se le acusa de pegar un objeto fijo, abandono de atropellado. Tiene una fianza en la cantidad de $1,500.
You're also charged with driving while unlicensed. Your bond is $1,000 on that charge.
También hay una acusación de manejar sin licencia. La fianza para esta acusación es $1,000.
Improper lane change, your bond is $500.
Cambiarse de carril incorrectamente, la fianza para esta acusación son $500.
And driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, your bond is $5,000.
Y manejar bajo los efectos de alcohol, ser un conductor menos cauteloso, la fianza para esta acusación son $5,000.
Okay, it's for a total of $8,000.
En total, la fianza es $8,000.
You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond.
Tiene una condición especial de no incumplir la ley si sale en libertad bajo fianza.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Señor, ¿renuncia usted la lectura formal de las acusaciones?
Ok, yo me declaro culpable, pero mi familia está afuera, dice que puede pagar todo el dinero para poder salir yo.
Okay, I can plead guilty, but my family is outside. They say that they can pay the money so that I can be released.
Okay, I can't take a plea today because I do not have the other side here. I'm here just to give you a bond and let you know what you're charged with.
Está bien, señor. Yo no puedo aceptar su declaración de culpabilidad hoy. Estoy aquí solamente para darle su fianza y nombrarle un abogado de oficio.
Entonces no puedo pagar los $5,000 para salir.
So I won't be able to pay then the $5,000 to be released.
You will be able to pay the bond for all 4 charges. It's $8,000.
Usted sí podrá pagar la fianza. Para las 4 acusaciones es un total de $8,000.
All right. And then if you bond out, you will receive your next court date in the mail.
Y luego, señor, si sale en libertad bajo fianza, le llegará por correo la notificación de su próxima cita judicial.
If you're unable to bond out, you will have a preliminary hearing, which is a probable cause hearing, on October 27th at
Sí.
8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Si no logra salir bajo fianza, entonces usted tendrá una audiencia preliminar, la audiencia para determinar motivo fundado en las acusaciones, que se señala para el día 27 de octubre a las 8 de la mañana en la sala 201.
Okay.
Or if you do want to plead or resolve your case, you can waive that hearing and expedite your case to state court, where
Si
you'll
usted,
get a hearing in about 7 to 10 days.
si usted quisiera presentar su declaración a las acusaciones, podría usted renunciar a tener la audiencia preliminar para que su causa llegue con más prontitud al tribunal estatal en los primeros 7 a 10 días.
Tengo que declarar cómo.
I can plead how?
No le entendí esa parte de que tengo que declarar para que mi causa llegue más pronto.
I didn't understand that part about pleading, and that way my case would happen more quickly. Your Honor, can you hear me?
I'm coming back. Can you hear? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Did you hear what I said?
I didn't.
Okay. The defendant said that he did not understand the part about him pleading and his case being handled more quickly.
If he wants to plead, he can waive the preliminary hearing and he would get a court date in state court in 7 to 10 days.
Si lo que usted quiere hacer es declararse a las acusaciones, entonces puede renunciar a tener la audiencia preliminar. Con eso, usted tendrá su próxima audiencia en el tribunal estatal en los primeros 7 a 10 días.
You'll still be able to bond out.
Y aún así puede salir bajo fianza.
But if you're unable to bond out, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing so that your case will go to state court?
Pero en caso de no poder salir bajo fianza, ¿quisiera usted renunciar a su audiencia preliminar para que su caso llegue más rápido al tribunal estatal?
Sí, pero tengo una pregunta. Okay.
Yes, but I have a question. Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Mi familia ha estado, que una vez que ponen en line los cargos que tengo, mi familia ha estado esperando todos estos días para que me pusieran ¿cómo se llama? El bond para poder salir. Y ya está estos cargos en línea para que mi familia los pueda pagar.
Okay. So my family has been looking online to see what all these charges are so that they can pay the bond. So now the charges are appearing online.
Okay, and they will update the bond amounts after this hearing, since I'm
Sí.
just now giving you a bond on the DUI charge.
Sí, señor. Lo que sucede es que después de esta audiencia, la cantidad de la fianza quedará actualizada, porque apenas ahora le estoy imponiendo la fianza para la acusación de manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol.
Entonces, si pago los $8,000, ¿puedo salir de la cárcel?
So by paying the $8,000, I'll be able to get out of jail?
Yes, if you either pay it in cash to the sheriff's office, or you can go through a bonding company and pay a percentage, and they would let you know what that percentage would be.
Sí, puede pagarlo en efectivo en la oficina del sheriff o puede tramitarlo a través de la compañía de fianzas. Le van a cobrar un porcentaje, pero ellos le van a avisar cuánto es el porcentaje que le van a cobrar.
No, mi familia va a pagar, solo tengo que llamarles para que paguen.
No, my family will pay it. I just need to call them so that they can pay it. Your Honor, can you hear me?
All right, sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Can you hear me okay?
All right, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
I'm sorry, it keeps going out. Mr. Bautista, if you can go ahead and sign the waiver form, and then you'll be excused.
Señor Batista, ya puede pasar a firmar la renuncia y ya se puede retirar. Gracias.
All right. At the jail, did you all have anyone else that speaks Spanish?
No, Your Honor. And we
All
did this.
right. Thank you, Ms. Tolles.
All right, thank you so much. Have a
Right.
great afternoon, everyone.
You too. All right. What's your name, sir?
Jeremiah Langford.
Jeremiah Langford. All right. Do you all have a Stephen Lewis?
You want Lewis?
Yeah, next. Stephen Lewis. All right, Mr. Langford, you are charged with disorderly conduct. Your bond is $1,500. Simple battery, $4,000 bond. Obstructing an officer, $1,500 bond. Interference with government property, $5,000 bond. You have a special condition. Can you still hear me, sir? Are you there at the jail? Can you hear me? All right. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It says the defendant did on the 11th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 11465 Terra Boulevard, Hampton, Georgia, at approximately 18:18 p.m. did commit the following violations of Georgia law: disorderly conduct, simple battery, family violence, obstructing or hindering a law enforcement officer, and damage to government property. In that said offender did commit the offense of disorderly conduct when, without provocation, used abusive words while in public inside a store, Walmart. Upon being contacted by a Clayton County Sheriff's Office deputy, the offender got aggravated, at which time he made physical contact with his sister, the victim, Kayla Langford, by grabbing her by the neck. The offender then walked out of the store along with his sister. Once outside the store, the offender continued walking towards the intersection of Lovejoy Road, Registry Boulevard, where I made contact with him. The offender then refused to provide any information upon being asked. Due to the Clayton County Sheriff's Office deputy witness statement, I proceeded to place the offender in custody, placing a handcuff on his right hand. The offender then proceeded to resist arrest by using force, at which time the offender at one time scratched my left hand and grabbed me by the back of my neck. Once in custody, the offender was transported to the Lovejoy Police Department headquarters in order for proper arrest documentation to be completed. Upon being placed in a holding cell, the offender broke one of 611 chairs. Once all necessary arrest paperwork was completed, the offender was transported to the Clayton County Jail, nothing further. All right. You have a special condition to have no violent or harassing contact with Kayla Langford. You understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand, but I have to ask you to about that special condition to be removed because my sister, Kayla Langford, is my only living relative. My mother is dead. My grandfather is dead. My grandmother is dead.
You can have contact with her. It can just not be a violent or harassing.
Okay. Also,
I said no violent or harassing contact.
she's the only person that can place my bond too. Is that all right?
I don't know. You'd have to check with the sheriff's office about that. Let me see. Also, a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
I have my family is searching for an attorney right now.
Okay, so once they get one and they file their paperwork with the court, your court-appointed attorney will be relieved. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right, thank you, sir.
Stephen Lewis is, he's not active. He's out on bond. Your Honor, you're frozen.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, just so you know, you're frozen and we can't hear anything at this time.
All right, are you Mr. Lewis?
No,
Are you Mr. Lewis?
can't.
I think Jameson said Lewis bonded. Jameson, what's going on, Lewis?
Stephen Lewis?
Stephen Lewis.
He's out on bond.
He's out on bond.
Okay. All right, you are Anton McCant.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then next will be Jacob McCarter. All right, sir, you're charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000. Obstructing an officer, your bond is $1,500, and no license, your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
I asked for signature bond because I'm not from here, Your Honor, and I have a
We don't do signature bonds on felony charges. So your bond is looks like $7,500 for all three.
Is there
Thank you, sir.
is there any type of way that I can get it lowered some kind of way?
No, sir, but I have appointed an attorney to represent you, and you can speak with them, and then they can speak with the prosecutor to see whether or not that can be accomplished. Thank you, sir.
The bond is 75.
$7,500 for all three.
Okay. November 9th.
Yes, sir. All right, Jacob McCarter and then Dante Nelson.
Good afternoon.
Are you Mr. McCarter? All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500 and no expired registration. Your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, I'd like to hear them.
All right. On the 12th day of October, 2020, in Clayton County, Georgia, at East Fayetteville, West Fayetteville, at approximately 0116 hours, the defendant did commit the following violations of Georgia law: canceled or revoked license, expired registration, and that said offender did operate a vehicle with a canceled license. The vehicle also has an expired registration. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I do not.
All right, sir, it will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Quick question.
October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Yes, ma'am. This is a simple DMV error. Is there any way I could get this lowered or signature? Just so I just have to show the paperwork that I gave the DMV all the info.
You'll be able to show it to your attorney, and then, you know, they'll be able to work on your case from there. So I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. So the paperwork you have, make sure to give it to that attorney, and then they can work on your case. Try to get it handled with the prosecutor.
And then we can do
All right,
that.
thank you, sir.
Okay.
Dante Nelson. And then Janelle Nesbitt. All right, are you Mr. Nelson? All right, you're charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jesus Taylor and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Ma'am, I have a question. So the apartment that I live in, he's my roommate.
All right, so you will be able to have no contact with him because of this battery charge.
If the apartment's in my name and I pay all of the bills on it, will I have to leave, or how would
If
that?
he's there, yeah, you can't be there if he's there because there's a no contact. What I will do, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent.
She froze.
Judge, you're frozen.
All right, sorry about that. My computer keeps going out. I was saying you'll have to speak with your attorney about that and let them speak with the prosecutor since I don't have the other parties here in court. All right, I don't know if you all heard that. Give me just a moment. I'm going to try to log on with another device because this computer keeps going out. Give me just a moment.
She's the one that switched one.
All right. Can you all hear me? You said yes?
Yes, Your Honor, we can hear you, but there is an echo.
Oh, because I have the other computer. Hold on. All right, give me just a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you all hear me now?
It's perfect, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having internet issues. All right, let me have Dante Nelson.
Yes, ma'am. Dante Nelson.
All right, good afternoon, sir. And after Mr. Nelson will be Janelle Nesbitt. All right, Mr. Nelson, you are charged with battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Jesus Taylor and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir? Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, there will be a waiver form for you to sign and then you'll be excused. Thank you, sir. All right, Janelle Nesbitt and then Alan Newell.
John,
Are you Mr. Nesbitt?
yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, man, I want to hear what's going on.
All right. Says the defendant, Janelle Nesbitt, did on October 4th, 2020 at 1208 Centera Drive in Hampton, commit the offense of criminal trespass, unlawful purpose against the state of Georgia. In that said defendant did knowingly and without authority change the front and back locks of the incident location, where both the offender and the victim reside. On October 4th, 2020, the top deadbolts were changed with the intent to deprive the victim of gaining access to the house. The accused stated several times on text message that he wanted her to leave the location, and in an attempt to deny her access, he changed the locks, which is why the victim had to gain access through an unlocked window. Today, on October 11th, 2020, we responded to the incident location because the victim left for Walmart and the accused got upset and threw her personal items out on the porch, including her dog, and left. Sir, you have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bonds. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, it will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alan Newell. All right, good afternoon, sir. And after Mr. Newell will be Cameron Phelps. Mr. Newell, you're charged with criminal damage in the second degree. Your bond is $5,000. Entering auto, your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'd like to hear. No, ma'am. Can I hear?
You said you want to hear them?
Just what the charges are.
Oh, criminal damage to property. Your bond is $5,000. And entering automobile, your bond is $10,000. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Cameron Phelps, and then Justin Ramsey.
Phelps is bonded out, or he's not in custody?
Phelps didn't have a bond. It's a battery family violence charge.
Okay, we'll double check on that, but they don't have anything by his name. I'll find out what's going on.
Okay, do you need his LE number?
Yes, ma'am, do you have it?
It's, well, I have what's on the warrant. It says 2150844.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ramsey's ready.
Okay. Justin Ramsey and then Casey Redmond. You, Mr. Ramsey? All right, sir, you are charged with criminal trespass. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Also to have no violent or harassing contact with Sierra Robinson. Do you understand that, sir?
Now, may I speak, please?
You have a question? I don't want, you can ask a question, but no facts about the case, because I don't have the other side here at this hearing.
My question is when, okay, the officer first came out and they said that I didn't have to remove myself.
I can't hear any of that because I don't have the officer here. I don't have the prosecutor. I don't have any attorneys. So I'm just here to let you know what you're charged with and give you a bond, okay? You can have contact with Ms. Robinson. It just cannot be of a violent or harassing nature.
Of course,
right?
we stay together. But as far as the stipulations of my charges go, do I qualify for a signature bond or a lower bond at this time?
All right, I'll give you a signature bond, sir. $2,000 signature bond. I will need for you to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing, and you'll get your next court date in the mail. Thank you. All right, Casey Redmond and then Valentino Rivera. Are you Mr. Redmond?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you are charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bonds. Also to have no violent or harassing contact with Badalion Preston. Do you understand that, sir? All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Could you explain it to me? I'm really.
Do you want me to read the probable cause affidavit to you, or do you understand what you're charged with? I couldn't hear you, sir.
Yes, read it to me, please.
Says the defendant did on the 11th day of October, 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 5915
Tremere Road.
Trammell Road in Morrow. I can't read the officer's handwriting. At approximately 2340 hours did commit the following violations of Georgia law: simple battery, in that said offender did intentionally make physical contact of an assaulting or provoking nature with the person of another. The victim, Badalion Preston, date of birth, August 17th, was pushed by the offender during a domestic disturbance at their residence. The victim and the offender both provided verbal testimony that the offender pushed the victim. The victim and offender lived together, and this crime was committed in Clayton County, Georgia. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
No.
All right, sir, it will be set for October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Valentino Rivera.
Say your name.
And then you, Mr. Rivera.
No.
All right, and then next will be Aaron Smith. Mr. Rivera, you're charged with aggravated assault by strangulation. You have no bond set at this time, as you're currently on a 5-year served 6-month sentence in Clayton County Superior Court, case number 16 CR 02264. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Angelo Rivera. Do you understand that, sir? Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing will be November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
Your Honor, I just have one charge.
For first appearance. I don't know if you have any other charges pending. This one is just the aggravated assault by strangulation. That's the only thing on my calendar today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Aaron Smith and then Jaden Stevens. All right, are you Mr. Smith? All right, sir, you are charged with criminal trespass, damage to property. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No. No.
Okay. Says the defendant, Aaron Lamont Smith, did on October 11, 2020 at 8689 Cedar Creek Ridge, Riverdale, commit the offense of criminal trespass, damage to property against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did intentionally damage the property of Rufus Wilson Jr., date of birth September 28th, 1949 at 8689 Cedar Creek Ridge in Riverdale, Georgia, 30274 without the consent of the property owner. And the damage there too is $250. The said offender did break a window at the residence by throwing a ceramic mug at the window. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing?
What is the preliminary hearing?
It's your probable cause hearing. It will be held on October 27th, or you can waive that hearing and expedite your case to state court. Okay, sir, there will be a waiver form for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Jaden Stevens, and then Jesus Taylor. All right, are you Mr. Stevens?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, you're charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500. Speeding violation, $500 bond. Possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, $1,500 bond. Use or possession of drug-related objects, $1,000 bond. No insurance, $1,000 bonds. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor.
All right. It says that hold on. The defendant did on the 11th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at I-675 South, Forest Parkway Southeast at approximately 17:02 hours, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: driving while license suspended, speeding 21 to 25 over, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, possession of drug-related equipment, and no insurance. And that said offender did operate a motor vehicle, a Ford Fusion Titan RQT 7624, on a public highway, driving 24 miles per hour over the 65 mile per hour speed limit. I, Officer Harris, conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle and realized that the driver had a suspended license and no insurance. During my vehicle inventory, I discovered drug-related equipment, a scale, and a green leafy substance suspected to be marijuana. This incident occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, it will be set for October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Jesus Taylor. And then Montegas Terrell. All right, Mr. Taylor, you're charged with giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, I was gonna actually say something about that. I gave the officer my name on my social. It's my maiden, I mean, on my social, it's my married name.
You have to tell that to your defense attorney to let them handle whatever your defense is. So I'm gonna appoint an attorney to represent you, and then your preliminary hearing will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Is it possible for me to get an SOR bond, please? Because I'm not trying to lose my job, and I'm a victim in two of the other cases, so I'm trying to get my stuff before then as well.
Hold on, sir.
I'm the victim in the case with.
All right, I'll get your bond. Sir, you'll need to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing, and then you'll get your next court date in the mail.
But you said I will get a signature bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said I signed a waiver?
You need to sign a waiver for the preliminary hearing.
How do I do that with? Well, I did
They
that
have
with.
waivers there, so they'll get you to sign one, and then you'll be excused. Thank you, sir. Montegas Terrell, and then Travis Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond is $1,500. And expired registration, your bond is $500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, can I have a sitting bond also, please? Oh, so I
Not
will,
driving on a suspended license charge, no, sir. Let's see. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
yes.
Right, sir, they will have waiver forms there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Travis Wilson, and then Keith Allen.
Is my bond still 2,500, right?
It's 2,000 on both charges.
2,000, so it's 4,000.
1,500 on the driving on a suspended license and 500 on the expired registration. So a total of 2,000 for both.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Leave the pen right there. So what I do right here?
All right, Travis Wilson.
Okay.
Are you Mr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with theft by shoplifting. Sir, you have no bond because you're currently on 5 years probation out of Richmond County Superior Court. Case number 2018 RCCR 01109. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at the Walmart at 2940 Anvil Block Road in Ellenwood, and not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
So while I'm out on bond,
On bond, you could not violate any laws. Do you understand that, sir?
what did you say if I'm what on bond?
You don't have a bond because you're on probation.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. Your preliminary hearing will be November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. All right, at the jail, do you all have anyone else on the October 12th calendar?
Yes, Mr. Phelps is here, Your Honor. That'll be the last person.
Okay. After Mr. Phelps, I'm gonna take a quick break and then get everything for the rest of the calendar for the 13th. All right, Mr. Phelps, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Tiandra Barlow and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Say it again.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yeah, I read it.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, but I have an attorney.
Okay. Well, once your attorney, since they're not here today, once they file an entry of appearance, then your court-appointed attorney will be relieved. And your preliminary hearing will be October 27th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
You said 27?
Yes, October 27th,
At what time?
8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Give me just a moment before we start on the remaining cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm ready. If you all are ready, Keith Allison. And after Mr. Allison will be Timothy Bickers. All right, Mr. Allison, you're charged with obstructing an officer. Your bond is $1,500 and giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. Says the defendant did on the 12th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at Mount Zion Road, at Maddox Road, Morrow, Georgia, 30260 at approximately 0055, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: obstruction, false name, date of birth. And that said offender did on October 12th, 2020. The offender was a passenger of a 2019 BMW X3 during a traffic stop. The offender got out of the vehicle and entered a gas station and did not stay in the vehicle as I ordered the offender to do so after I completed my investigation. I entered the store with Detective Solomon and began searching the gas station for the offender. The offender was located hiding inside the storage room. The offender was detained and was escorted back to my patrol vehicle. During the investigation, it was also determined that the offender provided the name Michael Allison with the date of birth of August 7th, 1991. It was determined that his name was Keith Allison, April 6th, 1991. The offender had several felony warrants out of Fulton and DeKalb County, Georgia for false name, intent to distribute marijuana, felony theft, burglary. This occurred in Clayton County, Georgia. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing? All right. Or there will be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
Can I ask you a question, I don't.
Thank you, sir. Timothy Bickers, and then William Brooks. Hello, are you Bickers?
No.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with driving without a license. Your bond is $1,000. Red light violation. Your bond is $500.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm going to release you on a signature bond, a 1,000 signature bond for the $1,000 and $500 signature bond on the red light violation. You will have a special condition not to violate any laws while you are out on bond. Do you understand that, sir? All right. Sir, I'll need for you to sign a waiver of the preliminary hearing since you're being released on a signature bond, and you will get your next court date in the mail. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am. I mean, yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. I just need for you to sign the waiver
I'll be released today.
once they process the paperwork
Thank you.
after the hearing. Yes, sir. William Brooks and then Andy Cuff. Are you Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with terroristic threats or acts. Your bond is $7,000. Simple assault, your bond is $3,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Daryl Milling and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
Says the defendant did on the 12th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia at 8088 Dolphin Drive in Jonesboro, commit the following violations of Georgia law: terroristic threats, simple assault, and that said offender did threaten the victim, Daryl Milling, date of birth April 21st, 58, with an act of violence by saying he would shoot the victim. The threat placed the victim in reasonable apprehension of physical injury, witnessed by Paula Ogatunya, July 27, 67. Offender the victim live in the same residence. This occurred in Clayton County. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you, and your preliminary hearing is set for November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Andy Cuff. After Mr. Cuff will be Ricky Davis. Are you Mr. Cuff? All right, sir, you are charged with hit and run. Your bond is $2,000 and no license. Your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I want to, ma'am, I'm trying to get out to get to work, whatever I need to do. I have a job I'm trying to get to.
Do you want me to read the warrant, or do you understand what you're charged with?
I understand what I was charged with, ma'am, but I wasn't driving during the hit and run. I had a special condition. We was in the midst of a miscarriage.
Okay, hold on. You'll have to speak. I'm going to appoint attorney to represent you, and you'll have to speak with them about what your defense is. But I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Ma'am.
You said no?
Waive it, that means?
That means you'll get a court date in state court. If you bond out, the hearing will be automatically waived by law.
Okay, so I'm trying to bond out, ma'am.
So you want to waive the prelim?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, Ricky Davis. And then Zion Davis. Are you Ricky Davis?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you
All
are.
right. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. You have no bond on those two charges as you're on 4 years probation in Fulton County Superior Court. Case number 18 SC 158669, and 3 years probation in Clayton County Superior Court. Case number 19 CR 02406. You're also charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $5,000 on that charge. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Janella Davis. Do you understand that, sir?
I don't know.
Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I understand what I'm looking for. I don't know.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Zion Davis and then Oliver Evans. All right. Are you Mr. Davis? Are you Mr. Davis? Sir, you're charged with a brake light violation. Your bond is $500 in violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $3,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Oliver Evans and then Orion Houston. Are you Mr. Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, you're charged with violation of seatbelt law. Your bond is $500. Possession of a weapon during a crime. Your bond is $10,000. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is $5,000. Learner's permit violation. I did not find probable cause. I dismissed that. Financial transaction card theft. I dismissed that as well. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bonds. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Now, dude, what is my total bond?
Okay, I got 6 coming back.
$15,500.
15,500.
10 on the weapon, 5,000 on the VGCSA, and then 500 on the seatbelt.
On that weapon Sorry, that weapon is registered in my name.
I don't think it's because it's not registered. It's because you also had the possession of the 3 MDMA pills.
I was trying to tell the officer that wasn't even in my possession.
Okay, so I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you, and you'll be able to go over your defense with your attorney. Your preliminary hearing is going to be November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right, thank you, sir. Orion Houston, and then Johan Hubbard. Are you Mr. Houston?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Houston?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with entering automobile. Your bond is $7,500. Possession of a firearm or weapon during a crime. Your bond is $10,000. Possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less. Your bond is $1,500. Loitering or prowling. Your bond is $1,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
You're my full bond?
You said what?
You're my full bond amount?
Entering auto, your bond is $7,500. Possession of a firearm, $10,000. Possession of marijuana, $1,500, and loitering or prowling, $1,000. Thank you, sir. Johan Hubbard and Donovan, and then Donovan Jackson. Mr. Hubbard?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to return to or go upon the premises located at 1216 Interlochen Pass, and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir? Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Say it again.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, there will be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir.
So excuse me, so I get a signature bond?
Your bond is $2,000.
So you saying I can't get no signature bond? I can't, right?
No, sir. Thank you, sir. Donovan Jackson, and then Devontae Jones. All right, you're Mr. Jackson? All right. Sir, you're charged with simple battery. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Aisha Duport and Karen Johnson. Do you understand that, sir? All right, and also a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, I am going to, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, so there'll be a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Devontae Jones, and then Jarvon Nunnally. All right, sir, you're charged with no license and no insurance. Your bond is $1,000 on each charge. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Jarvon Nunnally, and then Gerard Owens.
Great.
Are you Mr. Nunnally? All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $7,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Gerard Owens. And then Daquan Price. All right, are you Mr. Owens? All right, sir, you're charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Akia Broughton. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir? All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? I can't hear you.
You gotta speak up, sir.
What that mean? What exactly does that mean?
Do you want me to read the probable cause affidavit, or do you understand what you're charged with?
I understand.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Juan Price. And then Lamar Qualls. Are you Mr. Price?
No.
All right, sir, you're charged with simple battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. You have a special condition to stay away and have no contact with Rodrika Kornbacher. Also not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you.
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
want to waive your preliminary hearing?
I have a question. I have a statement on top of that. On top of for the bond.
Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
No, ma'am. What does that consist of?
Your probable cause hearing, or you can waive that and your case will go to state court. That's where your case will be tried or dismissed or whatever. It will be resolved.
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay, so your preliminary hearing will be October 27th at 8 o'clock. Sorry, at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201.
October 27th?
Yes, sir.
27th. 8 o'clock?
Courtroom 201.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am. I was wondering if I could get an SR bond because I have work tonight. And
We don't do signature bonds on battery charges. Thank you, sir. Lamar Qualls, and then DeJaiman Raymond. Are you Mr. Qualls? Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with driving on a suspended license. Your bond is $1,500. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Do you understand that, sir? All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Diamond Raymond. And then after Mr. Raymond will be Bruce Robinson. Are you Mr. Raymond? Are you Mr. Raymond? All right. Sir, you are charged with theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while you're out on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set for November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 01.
Your Honor,
Yes,
Mr. Qualls, at the end, when you was given the court date, I know it's the same one, and he was trying to ask you a question, but the internet feed was breaking up.
okay, Lamar Qualls.
Is he doing it?
Yeah.
We do,
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Raymond. Is Mr. Qualls still there?
You gotta speak up.
I was asking, is there any way I can get a signature bond so I can go to work tonight?
No, I can't give a signature bond on this with a suspended license, but your bond is $1,500. You should be able to post that through the sheriff's office or bonding company.
Thank you.
All right. Bruce Robinson. And then Matthew Smith.
Smith,
You just worry about you.
All right, Mr. Robinson, you're charged with theft by taking. Your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges? Does the defendant Bruce Devontae Robinson did on September 14, 2020 at 6142 Old Dixie Road, Shell's gas station in Forest Park, commit the offense of theft by taking against the state of Georgia, and that said defendant did take property, a 2012 Hyundai Sonata, the property of Faye Davis Kinney, with a value of $1,500.01 or greater, with the intent to deprive said owner of said property. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right, November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir.
Is there SR signature for this?
No, this is a felony. Your bond is $10,000.
Thank you.
All right. Matthew Smith. All right, after Mr. Smith will be Melvin Tolles. Mr. Smith, you are charged with no license. Your bond is $1,000. Reckless driving, $2,000 bond. Fleeing from a police officer, $2,000 bond. Too fast for conditions, $500 bond. Striking a fixed object, hit and run, $1,500 bond. And giving a false name, address, or date of birth, $1,500 bond. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir? Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
Sir, you said yes. All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
What is that?
It's your probable cause hearing that is in magistrate court.
Yes.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form for you to sign. And wait. Hold on just a second. No. Oh, you have I'm sorry, you have a felony charge with the theft by receiving stolen property. Hold on, you don't have a bond for that. That's a $10,000 bond. Your preliminary hearing will be November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. All right, thank you, sir.
Come on.
Step to the side, sir. Read the pen. It's another pen.
All right, Elvin Tolles. right, after Mr. Tolles will be Vernon Belts. All right, Mr. Tolles, you're charged with a brake light violation. Your bond is $500. Possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, your bond is $1,500. Violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, your bond is $5,000. Possession of a weapon during a crime, your bond is $10,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It says the defendant did on the 12th day of October 2020 in Clayton County, Georgia, at Terra Boulevard at Upper Riverdale Road in Jonesboro at approximately either 1622, did commit the following violations of Georgia law: brake light violation, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, BDCSA, possession of cocaine, possession of firearm during a crime. In that said offender did commit the above offenses by operating a 1995 gold in color Saturn Georgia tag RWA806, which had his driver's side brake light not working. Once behind the vehicle, a traffic stop was performed and contact was made with the offender. Also, the driver consent was given to search the vehicle. As a result, the following was found in a black book bag in the rear passenger seat: a 9mm silver and black in color Smith & Wesson handgun. And then it has a serial number, clear blue plastic bag, which contained white substance, suspected cocaine, clear white plastic bag containing a white substance, suspected cocaine, in a clear bag containing a green leafy substance, suspected marijuana. The gun was run through GCIC and came back not stolen. 1 white substance bag weighed 0.3 grams. 1 weighed 0.9 grams. Both field tested positive for cocaine. The green leafy substance weighed 2.7 grams. These offenses happened in Clayton County. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is November 9th at 8 o'clock in courtroom 201. Thank you, sir. Vernon Belts. And then Moses Wagner. Are you Mr. Belts?
No.
Sir, you're charged with criminal trespass, damage to property. Your bond is $2,000. You have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond and to have no violent or harassing contact with Amy Curtis. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, they will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. Thank you, sir. Moses Wagner. And then Emmett Williams. Are you Mr. Wagner?
I am.
All right, sir, you are charged with battery, family violence. Your bond is $4,000. Special condition to stay away and have no contact with Amani Whitaker and not to violate any laws while on bond. Do you understand that, sir?
I do.
All right, sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I do.
All right, sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. They will have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you will be excused. All right, Emmett Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, sir. You're charged with possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, $1,500 bond, giving a false name, address, or date of birth, $1,500 bond, no license, $1,000, motorcycle equipment not used properly, $500, defective headlights, $500 bond, no taillights, $500 bond, no insurance, $1,000 bond, and expired tag, $500. Have a special condition not to violate any laws while on bond. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing?
Ma'am.
All right. They'll have a waiver form there for you to sign, and then you'll be excused.
Ask you one question. It was a 50cc scooter, ma'am, and I don't have like nobody to pay my bond or anything, ma'am, because my dad, he's 86 years old, ma'am. And not like my name, it shows up under Emmett Isaiah Elmore Williams, because my mom and dad is not married. My mom had passed away last year from an unknown cause of death, and I have a lawsuit on the hospital, ma'am. All I need is a signature bond, man, because I work every day, man. I just can't get hold of my dad. He's 86 years old. Is there any way, please?
If it were just like, you know, one or charge or something like that, but you have like eight charges, so I can't do a signature bond at this time. But what I'm gonna do is you can speak with your attorney, give them all of that information and see what they can work out, you know, on your case, but you'll have to speak with your attorney about that. All right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and sign the waiver. Did you all have anyone else?
Your Honor, that's the last person.
Okay, that's the last person I have too. All right, that concludes this hearing. You all have a good day.
All right, I'm gonna personally send all the paperwork to you right now.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.